Little inspiration, a little motivation for you this Wednesday morning, June 24th. A little motivation. Again, these are things you know, these are things you've heard, but are you doing what you know? Are you continuing to push? When the adversities come, how do you think about them? You still wish them away? I know it's hard. I know it's not your ideal, but what you know, being here and listening to these things, you understand that the adversities is what builds your character so that you have the capacity to handle the life you're asking for. It's through the hard times. So I wrote down this question. What are you going to do when you get tested? If you get tested, because we all are, in whatever area of your life that is, what are you going to do? Have you been preparing for that test? That's what these calls are for. This is mental toughness. This is emotional intelligence. This is becoming more aware, getting a higher level of consciousness. I just shared this with someone yesterday, but that Albert Einstein quote that says, a problem can't be solved at the same level of consciousness it was created. A problem can't be solved at the same level of awareness, of conscious awareness that it was created. So if you're trying to solve a problem in your life, something you deem as a problem, health-wise, financially, business-wise, spirit life, relationship, like whatever the things are that you deem like, I probably need to change this, you can't solve that problem until you're at a higher level of consciousness, until you're at a higher level of awareness, until you've worked on your mindset, you've moved to the next level. Then you can look down and say, oh, that was never really an issue. I just needed to shift this. I just needed to change this. But we won't get there unless we elevate our thinking. And so that's what this is for. This is the mental gym. This is to elevate our thinking. This is to get a different perspective on something that we have in our life so we can get a different outcome on that thing. So are you preparing for the test? Don't be naive and think you won't be tested. Some of us are being tested right now. Were you prepared for this test? Have you done the work? If you're not going through a test right now, guess what? Soon you will. So are you prepared? It's a question for you. You got to make the commitment. Commitment is about will. That's what you always hear E.T. talk about, right? He has phenomenal will. After a while, skill is not the key. It's your will. Have you made the commitment that you're going to get better? Have you made the commitment that you're going to grow? Have you made the commitment to stop doing certain things or start doing certain things? Have you made the decision and the commitment? Are you holding yourself accountable to the things you say you want? Again, in any area of your life, are you holding yourself accountable to the commitments you've made? We call this integrity. To have integrity with oneself is to be able to validate and keep one's promises. I do what I say I'm going to do for me. That's a commitment. I wrote down, we need to upgrade our language, talk to ourselves better. You've heard this in a lot of our texts in 177 Mental Toughness Secrets. There's a bunch of chapters where somewhere in there it says, how does the world class elevate their knowledge? It's through visualization and self-talk, good self-talk. How do we continue to raise that bar? How do we continue to go to the next level? Well, one, we have to have better imagery. So we have to have better things that we're looking at, that we're consuming, so it fixes our thoughts. And then we have to have better self-talk. You talk to yourself. We talk to ourselves more than anyone else talks to us. So what's your talk track? What's the thoughts that come in your mind? What do you say to yourself when things happen, when you're tested? We have to learn to talk to ourselves better, speak to ourselves better, have better self-talk. Great book by Shad Helmstetter. I think I've mentioned this to you before. It's called What We Say When We Talk to Ourselves, or What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. That book helps you understand that you are talking to yourself constantly. So are you programmed and talking to yourself as an encouragement to push you, to allow you to grow, or are we talking bad about ourselves? Are we doubting ourselves? Do we not have the belief inside of us? So that's our talk track. You got to become aware of this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. A problem can't be solved at the same level of consciousness it was created. So once you start understanding, man, I need to think on on a higher plane. I need to think, right? Higher thoughts. Then we can come back and solve any issues that we might have. But you got to talk to you got to learn that self-talk side of things. I wrote down our thoughts aren't always true. Your thoughts are not always true. Just because you have a thought does not mean it's always a thought that serves you. It doesn't mean that it's a thought that's always true. That's why we are to take all thoughts into captivity. That's why we can be separate from our thinking. Metacognition. Are you thinking about what you're thinking about? Or do you just let your thoughts run wild? All of your thoughts are not true. You have to challenge your own thinking sometimes. You have to challenge, hey, does this thought really serve me? Is it helping me become the man or woman I need to be? Or is it taking me away from it? Is this thought filled with shame, filled with fear, filled with, right, insecurity, right? Is that where this thought comes from? Or is this thought an empowering thought? Something of bravery, something of courage, right? All of our thoughts are not true, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we hear these things and you know these things, but are you practicing this? Is this the mindset that you go through life with? That's how we get to the life we don't need a break from. That's how we get to our ideal life. It's not just hearing this stuff and being like, oh, yeah, I heard it once. It's, do we apply this? Do we change how we think? Do we change it? Do we say, I used to think this way, now I don't think that way? Right? I don't remember who told me this. If it was a mentor or somebody I heard, but like, it's actually a good thing when you change your mind, right? Imagine you had the same beliefs and same thoughts you had when you were 20 that you have now, and you haven't changed. Like you had, there's certain information that you have now that you did not have when you were 20. And because of that, you should contradict some of those things. Like, oh man, I used to think that way when I was 20, but I didn't know XYZ. I didn't live through this. So now I know something different. So my thoughts are different. That would just be normal, right? Like you're not supposed to think the same way as you did when you were a child. But somehow when we get to adulthood, we think we're supposed to think and be the same way. That's just who we are. No, you can change. There's something that you know now that you didn't know 5 years ago that now you're like, yeah, I don't believe that anymore. I used to believe that about me, about life, about health, about finance. I used to believe that. Now I don't because I've gotten new information and I've applied that information. So now I don't think that way. That's how we change. That's what's necessary for you to get to the life that you want. You have to form belief for the hard times. Remember how I always tell you, right? You're getting prepared. You're climbing this mountain. You're in the mental gym. You're getting mentally tougher and mentally stronger for what is up ahead, for when life throws you the hard time, for when you get the tests. That's what you're preparing for because people are going to be counting on you because they're going to go through really hard times because life is going to get harder for people. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder. It's going to get more challenging. People are going to get sicker. People are going to get older. We're going to have more wars, more stuff. Like it's going to get harder. But the people that are in the gym right now, the people that are focused on their mindset, we're the ones, right, that are building something that's going to last through the hard times. We're creating something inside of us that's going to get us through when the tests come, when it's very rough, where we have to support people, where you have to support yourself. That's what you're building. You got to form the belief now for the hard times. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is just about who you're becoming. Why are we doing all this work? We're doing all this work so that we can become the best version of ourselves. We're doing all this work so that we can continue to learn and grow and become the highest, grandest expression of ourselves, as Oprah would say. And the only way we get there is through overcoming the obstacles. The only way we get there is to raise our level of awareness so we can solve the issues that are in our lives, whatever those things are that we see that we want to get better in. In our text, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets, again, it says the world class catapults their consciousness by overcoming obstacles. You can't wish it away, ladies and gentlemen. You can't wish away the obstacles. You can't wish away the adversities. They come to make us stronger. They come to raise your level of awareness, to know what you're capable of. How would you ever know what you're capable of if you've never been through the hard times, pushing yourself through the hard stuff? That's how we get rock solid character. That's what it's going to say in here. Here's what it says. It says, while the masses see obstacles as their primary adversary, champions view them as opportunities to expand their level of thinking and competence. I'm going to just stop there because, again, this is a belief. Is that how you operate? Do you see obstacles or do you see obstacles as a challenge, as your adversary, as, oh man, another problem? Oh man, I never get a break. Oh, I'm not right. Is that how you operate? Or do you view them as an opportunity to expand your level of thinking and competence? Every new problem that you get, if it's an actual new problem, here's a funny thing. Most of the challenges, the obstacles, the tests are actually the same tests because you never learn the lesson. That's actually what happens. Like you're actually just getting tested in the same exact ways with the same exact feelings. It's just, right, it just looks a little bit different, but it's the same test over and over again because you never really learn it. Once you learn the lesson, God can give you a different test. But do you see the test? Do you see the adversity that comes in as an opportunity to get to another level, to expand your thinking? Man, it's like you get a new puzzle. You do a puzzle, you figured out that test, that was great. Now you get a new puzzle. Do you look at it excitedly, like, man, another opportunity to grow, something else I got to learn, something else, God, you're trying to teach me. It's all about perspective. So again, first sentence says, while the masses see obstacles as their primary adversary, champions view them as opportunities to expand their level of thinking and competence. Professional performers know the only way they can truly become mentally tough enough to manifest their vision is to struggle and fight their way through obstacles. There's no other way. The great ones are conscious of the fact that success is trial by fire. The middle class consciousness avoids obstacles at all costs and looks for the easy way out. The world class builds their own roads and forges ahead, knowing the strength of character gained from overcoming obstacle after obstacle will be the measure of their true success. And with that rock solid character, even greater things can be accomplished. If you remove the obstacles, you remove the opportunity to grow. The world class becomes great by overcoming more obstacles than the middle class. They get tough because they're in the game, getting hit and taking shots. Professional performers are good at overcoming obstacles because they're always engaged in this process. Amateurs spend so little time staring down the dragon that they simply never get tough enough to become pros. The fear of failure looms deep in the psyche of the masses, and the great ones are sometimes fearful, yet develop more courage with each new obstacle until they stand up one day as a true mental warrior. This sentence that says the world class it was a really long sentence, actually, I feel like. It says the world class builds their own roads and forges ahead, knowing the strength of character gained from overcoming obstacle after obstacle will be the measure of their true success. And with that rock solid character, even greater things can be accomplished. That's the game, y'all. That's the process. It's obstacle after obstacle, challenge after challenge that causes you to learn and grow. That builds your character so you can go handle the life that you're asking for, so that you can get to the identity you need in order to get to the life that you want. It's the character building that this is about. It's the character building. Let's never forget that. We go through this process of writing down your goals and writing out your vision and knowing exactly what you want, and then really starting to focus on those things and dive into, right, how you get better in those things. But again, it says professional performers know the only way they can truly become mentally tough enough to manifest their vision is to struggle and fight through it. The only way you're going to get to the vision, the only way you're going to get to the things you have written down is to struggle and fight your way through it. It's not going to be easy. But the obstacles give you the opportunity to grow. How else do you get stronger? How else do you build more capacity? How else do you get a better character to handle what's up ahead? There's no other way. You heard, I think it was maybe Steve Harvey, right? There's no elevator to success. There's no elevate. Like you actually have to grow into it. Otherwise, you won't maintain it. Otherwise, you won't keep it. You can't just, right? Like we live in a society where you can just take the diet pills, the GLP-1s now, the Ozempic, and it just like it speeds up the process. No, just longer thinking of I just need to be able to eat right, to go to the gym, to move my body properly. There's no fast way to do this stuff. You have to change your habits. You have to have a higher identity. You have to think differently of yourself. You have to go through the struggle. You can't wish it away, ladies and gentlemen. That's my message for you this morning, right? You can't wish it away. I know life is hard, but you got to know this comes to make you better. This comes to make you better. If you didn't have this viewpoint, if you didn't have this perspective, this is the perspective that you got to work on. Like anything that's happening in your life that's a challenge, it's coming to make me better. I have to overcome these obstacles. I have to get more mentally tough. I have to get more emotionally intelligent. I have to, right, not let my feelings get in the way of a lot of these things. I need to learn that when life gets hard, when the tests come, I know what to do. I've been practicing for this. I've been practicing. You've been practicing when the hard times come, what do you turn to? What do you do? Do you know how to listen to good things? Do you know how to read good things? Do you know how to get around good people? Or do we self-sabotage? Do we go the other way because we're just not prepared? That's what this process is for, so that you can go off and get to your ideal life, ladies and gentlemen. You got to know, again, it says strength of character is gained from overcoming obstacle after obstacle. If you remove the obstacle, you're going to remove the opportunity to grow. You cannot wish away the adversities. They come to make you better. You got to have that viewpoint. That's not your mindset. That's why we got to shift our thinking, because that's the thinking that's going to help you get to the life that you want. It says the block of granite, which was an obstacle in the path of the weak, becomes a stepping stone in the path of the strong. Action step for today says make a list of the 3 biggest obstacles you currently face. Next, determine the worst thing that could possibly happen if you decided to mount an all-out assault to overcome them. If you can live with the worst case scenario, suspend your fear and attack your obstacles as if it's impossible to fail. If you succeed, your self-confidence will soar. That's what we're trying to get to. More confidence so you can go off and do the things you want. But the way you do it is by overcoming the obstacle and succeeding. Self-confidence is going to soar. If you fail, guess what? You'll live to fight another day, knowing that you tried something, knowing that you didn't let that fear hold you back. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. So that's why we got to go do this. That's why you got to face your obstacles head on. That's why you got to face your adversities head on, because it's coming to make you the man or woman that you need to be. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. Nobody tells you. I'm always going to tell you, because it's true. You need to hear it. You need to believe it. It needs to be in your belief system. It needs to be in your belief system that you're destined for success, that good things are going to come to you. You've done the work. You've written down your vision. It's on paper. You've made it plain. You're looking at it. You're reading it. You're embedding it in your mind. And now you're doing the work necessary. You're raising your level of consciousness. You're capturing your thoughts. You're doing all the hard things. You will eventually get there. Just keep doing the stuff. There's no timetable on it. You have to keep going. You have to keep getting stronger. You have to stay in the mental gym, stay in this mode of constantly growing and learning. And life is going to change for you. Promise. Keep doing the work. Do something that pushes you out of your comfort zone this Wednesday. And let's get back here on Friday and talk about it again. Love you guys. Take care.